Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Good evening, everybody. And today's topic is all about abuse, which is an ugly reality all around the world, not just the United States, but the world as a whole. Today, we have Felicia Reed, who is a certified life purpose, spiritual, and Christian coach, holistic wellness advocate, speaker, domestic violence awareness advocate, fiber artist, and a quality management professional. Ms. Reed has survived every form of abuse starting at the age of 5. She now works with groups and individuals to promote making positive and constructive life changes, along with healing modalities to bring about self-awareness, inner peace, accountability, and hope. She has a firm belief that the better we feel, the better we can live more productive lives. Because of surviving several life-altering and traumatic experiences, she knows firsthand that coaching and self-healing techniques aided in saving her life. Ms. Reed is the mastermind leader for Females Without Fear Life Mastery. She is also a member of cyber consortiums, art leagues, domestic violence awareness entities, and advocacy groups to bring awareness from a grassroots perspective as a survivor thriver. Well, welcome, Felicia, to the show. We are so honored to have you. And Just Minding My Business is so passionate about the topic that you're about to speak about. So welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and just hearing my bio. It's like, wow. Every time I hear it, I get something different. So thank you very much for bringing that on.
Yes, thank you. So tell us about what moved you into the direction that you're now in.
Well, right now, I am working primarily with females to support them in doing the work that they need to do or they want to do to save themselves from the yucky stuff, from trauma, from abuse, from setbacks, grief, losses. And what brought me to this point was I'm a survivor, I'm a thriver. And from 5 to 51, I went through it. I went through some of the most profound abuse that a lot of people have heard of. And I will be 57 this year. So for a little while, probably a lot longer than just a 6-year gap, I have been working to not only change my life, but to let others know that they too can change their lives and to break the cycle. So at 51, I endured the worst. And it was very cyber-centric. It was very mental. It was very emotional. And that pretty much nailed the spectrum for all of the other abuse, from physical, financial, emotional, and control throughout my life. And like I said, from 5 to 51. So that's a good chunk of a life, a lifespan to having endured as much as I have, or for anyone to endure abuse on the levels that I have. And I didn't know that it was abuse. It started in my family, of course, with generational control and coercion, trauma, unhealed issues. It started there, and it manifested into into my spirit. So I started to attract it everywhere I went.
Mm-hmm.
And and at 5, it was my babysitter's son. Throughout my forming years, it was in our home, very toxic and narcissistic,
Mm-hmm.
very dark. And as I moved on into womanhood, it was still with me. And so I was a fixer. I attracted the men who were broken or who would take advantage, of someone like myself who was vulnerable, green, naive, willing, and one relationship after the other was just what I thought was normal. Mm-hmm. And at 51, the worst was done by my family. And that was the wake up call. And that really got my attention in life. And I asked, God, as my belief system, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Why does this keep repeating itself? Mm-hmm. What is in me that I need to heal? Why is this in my family? Why at 51, when we are all older and making that shift into ascension, are we still dealing with these very dark issues? So that's when I started to take a look at myself, and it was so horrific that I just went straight to God and I said, whatever you need me to do, whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing that I haven't been doing all my life, whatever my life purpose is, I am willing to accept the task before me and save myself, as well as do what I can to save others or to help them save themselves, because I truly believe that, a person has to want to do the work, want to change, and want to be safe and free. So I can't fix them or anyone that has done what they've done to anyone. I can only give the wisdom, the knowledge, the encouragement, the support, the resources to help others. So here I am. I'm with you ladies tonight, yes, this evening. And the energy feels wonderful in that we can continue the dialogue associated around abuse, because for so long we didn't have the terminology. Yes. We didn't, we didn't have the outlet. We didn't have the support systems. And so much got swept under carpet, in closets, in the family chest. It just got locked away. And here we are in 2019 trying to put the lid back on Pandora's box. And it's nothing new. It's been there, but we just didn't realize that it would be a ripple effect for generations and generations and generations until we cap it off. And so we just, break the cycles and try to heal not only ourselves, but like I say, other people as well.
Yes.
Fabulous.
We definitely admire your courage, because a lot of times being able to talk about what happened to you is most definitely a light for somebody else, because there's nothing new that has happened in the world. And if it happened to you, we all know that it happened to somebody else.
Yes. And I was silent for about 45 years before I spoke on the episodes from early life. And as I started to speak on those, of course, the family wanted me quiet, silent, controlled. And like I said, at 51, it was the darkest. And so now we have innovation, we have technology, we have, narcissism on every level, and we're all narcissistic to some degree. However, when it becomes a personality disorder, it is an illness.
Yes.
So we are seeing a lot of that, and many people don't know how to handle it or address it because it involves gaslighting. It involves it involves being set up. It involves, like I said, technology. And what I went through was something out of a movie script. It was intended to, basically destroy me without touching me. It had been going on for years before it peaked out, and it involved my immediate family members and some neighbors. So, in theory, concept, we are always, victims are usually harmed by someone they know. Unfortunately, it's someone that's close to us, who we admire, who, we love, respect, put up on a pedestal, and those are the very ones that will cut us the deepest. So, healing from what I had to go through almost took me out of here. There were some times when, I wasn't sure if I had the strength to pull myself up out of what we were in, because I have a son, and to break away, to take an exit walk from my family in order to save my life. The behavior, the actions were so dark that I had to consult with priests, ministers, and healers. It was very unnatural, almost supernatural, in that my family didn't protect me. They were part of it. And like I said, at 51, at my age of 51, we should be a lot better and getting ready to, take care of our parents, be more, together. And here we were trying to destroy each other, and I was the target. It involved almost a military-like operation that has a lot of people reeling. Like how does that happen? How do people stalk you with planting devices, around your home and in your car, and taking over your cell phone and your computers, and monitoring your whereabouts by GPS tracking, and swiping your data by magnetic stripping to get as much information to torture you? You will, it's gaslighting. It's to drive the victim or the target crazy so that it appears as though they are harming themselves.
Right.
And I was basically that person 24/7. I had a bullseye on my back. And I decided to, work things on every level that I could, including a spiritual level. So one thing that I don't usually put in my bio is that I am a certified energy healer. And through the trauma of healing what I went through at 51, many gifts were revealed, because let's face it, survivors have eyes in the back of their head. They have intuition that is unreal, because that's what they have to rely on to survive. So as I traveled through the trauma and gifts were revealed, I decided that I wasn't the only one that could benefit from what I was, working on. So I became a certified energy healer, and I help people to adjust their energy field and to heal their energy, because everything is energy, and that darkness gets in us and on us. And we need to break the attachments and cut the cord so we can, be free. All of us, including our, the aggressors, we all are deserving to be free. So I do a lot of work with females, healing up and, empowering over cyber tactics and supporting in any way I can for those that are coming out of domestic violence, family abuse, relationship abuse, any form of abuse, work abuse. Sometimes they're abused at work. Their jobs are held over their heads, and just help out in any way I can.
Yes. Wow. This is, you've touched on some areas that we haven't really explored yet. So it is, when you talk about, I think you mentioned something about a financial trauma.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, the financial trauma was, it's a piggyback. If an aggressor, an abuser can torment you to the point where you're sick, you're perceived as crazy. I love the word crazy. I love the word crazy. I love that word. I tell everyone, don't be afraid of the word crazy. Don't, because it's just something that people use so that other people can start to look at you, in a different light. But I'm like, go right ahead. I really don't care. It's a scapegoat tactic. But if they can, weaken you or damage you enough, then your job starts looking at you, and then you can't perform your job. And, you start reacting to the gaslighting tactics, and you do look crazy because crazy stuff's being done to you, but nobody else knows that. And it's not funny. It's not funny at all. But financially, they do things to you, get in your account and say, oh, instead of going to Safeway and buying a sandwich for lunch, maybe you should take your lunch. And then you're trying to figure out, like, how are you guys in my account watching my debit card or credit card to know my purchases? So your mind starts playing into what's being done on you. And not only that, the expense of healing. Oh my gosh, I have, spent a lot of money simply trying to heal from the bad behaviors of other people. So therein lies another, financial impact. Mm-hmm. And abuse does come with a price tag, and it's not measurable. It's not measurable. People talking about the cost of abuse, you can't measure the cost, because every dollar that I lost had to, someone else had to step in or did step in as best they could. So they too are put in, a predicament for giving, and they may not necessarily be able to, but we all know that we got to keep people going. So part of the abuse tactic is to cause losses. And unfortunately, the losses are life, money, sanity, physical form, health. Absolutely. We can do another segment on just what I've gone through, to physically heal up from someone not even touching me, a group. It was a gang effort, not even touching me, and that impact. So this could be a couple of shows.
Oh yeah, and we already see that.
Yes. There's something I want to ask, and I think maybe our audience would like a little bit more of understanding of. You use the term narcissism. Most people do not know what narcissism is, and they don't know what it looks like. It does leave them feeling crazy, but they don't know that there's a name for it. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I am so glad you said that, because one of the approaches that I take is to teach women the terminology, because I had to learn an entire new language in order to communicate what was happening on a cyber level and on a psychological level. So I teach women the vernacular to use so they can get resources and help and belief sooner rather than later. And these are things I had to learn. I had to become like a cyber guru without the skill set of hacking or cyber stalking, or I don't know how to do it, but I do know the terminology. So narcissism, let me just explain a little bit about narcissism. Narcissism looks like the nicest person that you could ever meet. A narcissist is very, very, very slippery, very they operate on a whole other level, and they groom. So that's another term. They do grooming and they do mirroring. So they become this image of everything in life that you are looking for, so that you will be attracted to them and that you will like them. They, again, are the nicest people that you ever want to encounter. So that, and they are abusers. They are the ones who physically abuse you and say, "Oh, you walked into my fist." And when the police comes, or you go to the police, she's not having a good day. Well, they just beat her up, you know. So they are very crafty. It's almost like they have split personalities or multiple personalities, because I have encountered some that have more than 3 personalities. They will do anything they can to align to you. For example, I had all my data stolen. So the person that did that thought that the more they knew about me, the more they could captivate my attention. And when you start to reject them or start to sense that they are grooming you or setting you up or controlling you or harming you and not being accountable, they turn the gas up. And then that's when we get into gaslighting. And then they do things and blame it on you so that you can look crazy or not be believed and get support. It's always about deflecting the truth. And once again, I want to just remind the audience and you ladies here that a narcissist, again, is a very, very nice person. And they don't do it to everybody. They are selective. So I was chosen. I lived 2 doors from someone who participated in the event at 51, who is the nicest person that you could ever want to meet. So of course, they come across as, debonair, dashing. Their life is all put together. They are the best in sliced bread. And I myself look like, woo, she's trying to make it. She's trying to, do this. And life is different for her. And how could she turn him down or them down? Or, so I'm the one that's looking like I did something or that it's me. When in actuality, this person is wearing a mask, a facade, an entirely different persona. And it is to keep the fresh blood and fresh meat going. So when I refuse to play along or to succumb as, a partner to this person, I had to be taken down because I forced rejection and sensed that this person was not for me. And they did incredible damage. My home was opened up for an invasion that included people having sex and taking pictures and making videos in my house. I encountered property damage. There were devices planted in my car and around my home perimeter. So it was a full-up operation to get me. And through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, my belief system, I'm still here. I still reside 2 doors from the people who were my friends and neighbors. And yeah, so narcissists are very dark, and they they play life games. Everything's a game, and everyone is to them, everyone is a target or a victim, or they serve some purpose. They're not loyal to anyone. They will make you a partner to them to either support their nice persona or to hide their abuser persona, or put you on a potential list to be next, to be targeted. So everyone is disposable to them, and they move about in different ways. And this person actually put a timeline on how long they would give me to give in. 3 years. I was told 3 years. I rejected this person for 3 years, and so therefore I needed to be taught a lesson.
Oh, good grief.
The lesson was not pretty. It was not even human-like. There were animals that were brought in my home, and different things done to me as a neighbor, so that I would be the one, once again, to look like I was the one with the problem, and that this behavior could continue and move on to whoever the next victim was supposed to be. So it was quite an operation, and unfortunately, it attracted my immediate family, 2 members of my immediate family, to include my mother and my brother. And that's when we got into generational stuff. So, some people call it the perfect storm. And I adjusted my sails, and I just tried to keep sailing. But the impact, of course, is an incredible journey of survival.
Wow.
Okay, I'm just going to throw in something here because some people don't know, like you were talking about narcissism, you also mentioned gaslighting, and you're talking about abuse.
Yeah.
Just to nail down something so that people can actually understand that if they've never heard those terms again. The first book that comes to me is Alice Walker's, I believe I have the author right, The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Character Mr. Absolutely a narcissist.
Yes.
And you could see exactly what you were talking about in the way that he treated people.
Yes.
The other one is a movie, a really old movie, and it is called Gaslight.
Exactly.
And it's awesome. It will give you an absolute, and just as chilling as your story is, that's how chilling that movie is, because the main character in it is
Cary Grant.
No, it's Gaslight is, I believe it's Olivia de Havilland, and it's set in London during maybe the 1920s, 1930s, and it's an old black and white.
Yep.
And
it was Cary Grant. He kept flipping the lights on. He kept flipping her gas lights on. It was actually her lights, and they were gas lights. So that's how we have the terminology, gaslighting. And he would sit he had a broken leg or something, so he would sit in a wheelchair and watch her go crazy, trying to figure out why her lights kept flipping on and off. And he really liked her. So yes, I'm very familiar with that material.
Yeah, and that's a good reference for people who just really can't grab it, because when you're in it, you can't see it until you do what you did, sit down and say, oh, wait a minute, this person and that person, oh yeah, in that relationship, oh yeah, in that situation, these were all narcissistic relationships.
Yes.
And sometimes you just don't realize it until you have had a chance to pull up, so to speak, and pull back enough to say, wait a minute, it's not me. And yet it is, because we're all in it. We're part of it. But there are some people who just, that's how they live
operate.
Life.
Yes.
Through using other people.
Yeah.
My role in it was that I trusted someone as a nice narcissist, a nice person with the access to my home, who groomed me with home projects. So work was being done in my home by this person while I was at work, while I was away, and it was under the pretense that this was the only time that they had where they could help me. And because I'm a single mom, I deserved to come home and have everything done so that I could focus on what I needed to focus on. So I turned over the access to my home to get, help things done by a nice person. Lo and behold, my house was being used, my home was being used for encounters and stalking and different activities. And when I didn't give in, then here comes the damage, and gaslighting was part of it. And of course, I'm telling people like, this happened, they did this, and everyone's looking at, but these are nice people. Are you feeling okay? I mean,
yes.
I had devices planted around my home, and I knew that I was being stalked. One, my mother told me, and because she was on the inside, but she had to protect my brother. So, she could only do so much, and the authorities couldn't get involved because, we had to save my brother. But there was one evening when I called for a bucket truck, and I went up on a street light to try to find the devices that were on not only myself, but my home and my son, because everything that we did was being repeated.
Oh.
Lo and behold, yes, I went up in a bucket truck. I looked at a street light. I looked real crazy, but I did not care, because as a mom, you will look crazy trying to have safety and civility in your home when there's a child, especially. Mm-hmm. I did not care. And then some of the neighbors looked at me, and, I just had to use some choice words and say, I know what's going on. My family's already, informed me. And lo and behold, the amplifiers and the devices that were being used were on the ground. And it revealed itself by someone actually showing up one day to swap out amps, and they didn't know that I was the homeowner.
Wow.
And someone was here with me that was working in my yard with me, who also witnessed that. And, the greatness of God is that there was someone here with me, and we're standing there asking this person, and you're doing what? And he basically tells us, because I look like a little kid working outside, helping probably my father, which happened to be a friend who does landscaping for me. And so this person shows up to retrieve devices from off my wood line. And, I was looking up in the air, but they were really down on the ground. So, lots of activity like that to make me appear as though I was crazy. So not only did I have to learn, I had to educate other people so that they would know what I was talking about. And I went to school, I got super sharp, and I started speaking the language. And of course, as time would have it, we start hearing more about devices being put in bathrooms, devices being used in gym locker rooms. We start hearing more on the news about the very things that I was dealing with in a nice community.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. hear it for yourself. Visit jmmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level.
We're back with Felicia and her amazing story of survival. And one of the things I want to ask you is your trust level must be like almost zilch.
That's a great question. And I've done a lot of healing on that element, so that I don't look at other people as though they would do the same things to me that I have been through. So I trust my intuition. How about that? And I look for the red flags. And in looking back in all of the abuse that I went through, all the red flags were there. Mm-hmm. I just ignored them because I was naive. I didn't think this could be happening, or I didn't know it was abuse, or, it will be okay. Yeah, I try not, I don't know how I feel about trust, honestly. I just make sure that I take my time, that I pray a lot, that I wait, I exercise patience. I don't jump into, decisions or even feeling anything about any particular person as I go through the process to see, if this is a safe thing for me to consider. But yes, when your family does what mine did at 51, it kind of robs you of trust, joy, peace of mind, hope, but temporarily, because I healed all of those elements. So I have inner peace, I have inner joy, I have inner trust, I have inner happiness. And those are the things that I was giving to other people that I had to replace in my spirit, own them as part of who I am. So I trust, but I trust in different ways. Yes, and so to answer your question, yes, I still trust, but I had to work on the element of trusting and trust in a different way.
Mm-hmm. So for people who want to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
I'm so popular on, I don't want to say popular, but I'm on social media. I try to be really careful with my ego, because that's an attractive force right there. If you don't control that ego, it can bounce some things around that you don't want to deal with. So, I am on social media. I can be reached at info@putitinperspective.net. But you can, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and like I said, by email.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this has been amazing. And of course, there's so much depth to this that we just can't cover in this one set. We're going to have to.
And I just want to say, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had a delay in what I'm hearing. Okay. I just want to say that, I encourage women of color, and I usually don't like to, throw down a color card or a race card, but I encourage women of color to learn the vocabulary, learn the techniques, learn about the different forms of abuse in 2019, because the vernacular is different. It's no longer, like I said, a fist and a face. You learn about amplifiers and love bombing and grooming and gaslighting and triangulation and other tactics and devices. Learn about the devices that are being used and the apps on our phones. I do a whole other level of educating just about using a cell phone. Like I encourage women to use a privacy case, cover up your cameras, leave them out of the bathrooms, the bedrooms, because there are men who become angry and, tap into your phone or even, do revenge porn. So I even found my contact information on porn sites as part of revenge porn, and that's a whole nother form of abuse. So it was a full up operation, almost like something out of a movie scene. It was a movie. It was a very long movie, not just one scene, but I encourage women to learn the terminology so that we all can get resources and support. The authorities can immediately engage when you say, I'm being cyber gang stalked, or I've got, amplifiers, or my phone is tracking, I'm being tracked by GPS on my phone, so that, they can ask you the questions to help them, lead to the people that are doing it to you, or the person that's doing it.
Yeah, and that's funny. I'm an IT professional, and the phones. I have very few apps on my phone, very few apps, because I don't trust all that stuff. I pretty much use my phone to talk, text, and look at emails.
Yeah.
All that other apps and all these different things I don't need. And not only that, they take up a lot of resources on your phone, and some stuff you just don't need. And you don't know what their security on some of these apps, the security that they're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
know. I'm glad you said the word security, because here's a little history on our cell phones. Our cell phones, the licenses and design features that were presented to FCC when mobile devices first came out mandated that all mobile devices must be trackable. No one has gone back to FCC as a designer, manufacturer to say we want to change the licenses, for the design specs. All mobile devices were mandated to be trackable. So here's the thing, you can turn your location off all day long. That phone is still trackable because the manufacturer had to agree that phone would be trackable and traceable, because they were really designed for emergency personnel and military personnel and emergency use. And there's some features in the cell phones that, are hackable, penetratable. And even if you turn it off or turn the location feature off, that phone is still visible. It's still activated and it's still visible. So I caution everyone, leave the phones out of the meetings, leave the phones out of, again, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the private conversations. And I know we talk on them, and if someone's listening, well, that's on them, but just taking some extra precautions, cover up both cameras. Let me see if I can show you a privacy cover. It covers up, the front camera, and the back camera is, of course, hidden when it's flat. So this is my phone. And I have what is called a privacy cover. So that front camera is not looking at me or my surroundings when it's laying flat. So I encourage covering the front camera up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's some good tips, especially coming from the IT. I pay attention to things that happen in the background.
Yeah.
And most consumers are, my phone can do this and my phone can do that. I pay attention to what happens in the background. Everybody's getting the Alexa. I am very, very afraid of those.
Oh, no.
I don't put anything in my house listening to nothing I'm saying.
Yes, and whether it's Alexa or ground amplifiers, we just try to take precaution. I do have Alexa. I keep it, unplugged when I'm not using it, and I had to get to the point where I had to be really open and uncaring if my neighbors or my family decided to, tap my phone or tap my Alexa and say they want to hear. Again, that's a reflection of people that do that, and it's not a reflection of who I am, because I'm just in my house, frying some potatoes, fixing some breakfast, or, I'm just doing basic stuff. So if this is how, narcissists or people with these disorders care to spend their time, then that's really on them. But not everybody is at that level. In order to keep my sanity, I just had to say, my privacy has been stolen. I was raped. I was cyber raped. And I just choose not to be, not to continue to hide if I want to listen to Alexa or reprimand my sons. Hear what you want to hear again, but I do expect some civility as far as privacy. You don't belong in my bedroom. You don't belong in my bathroom. You don't belong on my computer. You don't belong on my phone or my Alexa. But that's again, that's an indication of the mindset of the people that are doing it.
And this goes way beyond bullying. What you're talking about, it goes way beyond that. This is a whole nother abuse entity in itself.
Yeah, stalking is not like bullying, but stalking is used to conduct bullying.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is heavy. So
yes,
again,
I had the, even in my car there were devices. I had my rear view camera, my rear view mirror was swapped out, and one with a pin-sized camera was installed because my car doesn't come with equipment that you can hack. I found a GPS tracking device in my glove box so that I could be tracked by GPS, and it had a microphone. When the police came out, they were familiar with the GPS tracking device, but they had never seen a rear view mirror that had a pin camera in it.
And they have so much stuff out there. So much stuff. So let me ask you, I mean, for somebody to go through all of these changes, what was their reasoning? And then your family being involved. I mean, what was their reason?
Each person had their own motive. So that the elements are jealousy, generational curses, differences in my family, the bloodline, things that happened, 50 million years ago that they felt I should be responsible for. Some people actually went into mental distress, I believe. And there's competition. The female neighbor thought I was probably a threat to her. The male neighbor I rejected. The ex-partner, well, he was in it for the fun or the physicalness of it. So each person, and my brother, he wanted to flex a little bit what he could do in a cyber realm. And it was boredom, jealousy, hate, very demonic. I saw a couple demons leave. And I just have to say that each person, narcissism feeds off of narcissism, and you get a whole vat of that going. It's the pits of hell. And they feed off of each other, so it becomes very competitive. Who can do what and who can do the most damage?
Wow, this is just, I'm like, my mind is blown with this, and meeting somebody that this has happened to. You hear about it, you see it on the news, on TV, but to actually meet someone and talk to somebody that this happened to is just, wow, mind-blowing. And
I don't look like that person. I don't look like that person that, has been through anything of what I have been through in the abuse spectrum. And that's what's shocking, because, if I come from this seemingly well put together family with great talent and creativity and knowledge and, can do anything that opts for darkness. And if I live in a well-respected neighborhood, and if I have a nice home, and if I can speak halfway decent, then those things that I went through shouldn't happen to me. That's the stereotyping, and that unfortunately kept me from getting, the resources and the belief and the support, that I needed, because, I don't look like that person. But now we're getting away from thinking that abuse has to look and be a certain way. It's everywhere.
Yes.
Human trafficking, yes, cyber abuse, human trafficking, stalking. It's everywhere.
Wow. And again, if people want to reach out to you, because we're definitely going to have you back, because I like to get in some more specific areas of this type of abuse.
Yeah, the language of it.
Yes,
technical language of it.
Cover that.
What I hope to share with as many as I can is how I survive. How did that's just, people look at me and they're like, how are you still here? How are you still here? Because there was physical damage. I had to, I reattached my nose. I woke up one morning with my nose torn off because I was having a bad dream or sleepwalking or out of body 2 years ago. And it was a trauma exit. It was a, exit. So I woke up with my nose torn off, and they're like, how'd you do it? So that's what I want to share with as many as I can, to help them, because if I can come through what I have come through, I know other people can exit and be okay too.
Yes. And again, how do people get in contact with you?
Find me on social media, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. You can connect with me personally by email at info@putitinperspective.net. I'm happy to, help anyone come on through the fire.
Yes, it's definitely a fire. Well, we thank you so much, Felicia, for your courage, your openness to share with our audience the things that you have gone through. And we're definitely going to be connected and do more of this, because it is our belief that the more people that we bring into the light of what's happening and stop the stigma of trauma, and also, get people from killing themselves silently about what happened to them. Yes.
Suicide, even homicide, that seem as though, oh, that's just a regular murder, to say it, bluntly, or that's just someone that gave up on life. And there could be an entirely different spectrum behind those things that people don't even know about. I could, what if I had committed suicide? People would look at me and say, oh, she was really crazy, and we need to move away from the stigma of suicide as well. What if my son had harmed himself? Oh, she wasn't a good mom. She was driving him crazy. So, and no one would have realized that there was a whole lot of going on behind that.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. This has been eye-opening, to say the least, because we always hear about the physical abuse, the mental abuse in terms of, the talk, but we never hear about the cyber abuse.
Never. And I'm a survivor also of physical domestic violence. I have, a plate holding up my right eye from a 30-year-old ordeal of domestic violence. And that's a whole another story. So like I said, from 5 to 51, it's been every form.
Yes. And we're definitely going to have you back, because people need to hear your story.
Yes.
Your story is the light for somebody else.
Right.
I'm so blessed to be able to help others and support them on their journey.
Yes. So thank you so much. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you to the amazing women of a Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.asistercircle.org. That's jmb.asistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.